Thank you, thank you. Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. We have a role in Toastmasters and in our club, which is variously called Grammarian. I think we decided that Philolog was probably the best Russian version. Some clubs call it linguist, and I quite like linguist because that's sounds a bit academic, but it's also very, very positive. The idea really in our club is to encourage the creative and effective use of language. And I would like people this evening, when they're speaking, to think carefully about the words that they're using, not to allow that to stop you talking, but think about things like alliteration, when you're actually using the same sounds in groups, maybe groups of three we very often talk about. And the other effect that I particularly like is onomatopoeia, where you use a word which sounds like what it's describing. So, for example, drip, drip, drip in English, and anybody suggest something in Russian which might be onomatopoeic?
Cup, cup, cup.
Cup, cup, cup. Exactly right. Okay, and yeah. So yeah, I'd like you to focus on that if you can in your speeches, and obviously this applies to the prepared speeches, which is a little unfair because you probably prepared something without that in there. But it also you will have an opportunity as visitors to speak as well. So it might be something for you to think about is the language you're using. Something else that's traditional is to choose a word of the day, and because we're bilingual, we choose at least two words, and the Russian one is Snogshibatelno, which I think is a really interesting one. To start with, I thought that was some sort of quite rude slang, but apparently it's not really, it's quite normal. So the meaning there is shibat snog, to knock you off your feet. So shibat is a normal verb for knocking, and then snog off your feet. It knocked me off my feet would be a literal translation. What's the equivalent in English? What's the translation? Well, I've come up with several. I think the gobsmacking I dropped really because I don't think it quite means that. It could be, sorry?
Fabulous.
Fabulous. Stunning, I think is the one I prefer. Knockout I've got down here, and I've got one over here. Jaw-droppingly. But it's something like it knocks you out, knocks you over. So whether you're speaking in Russian, or whether you're speaking in English, Snogshibatelno, stunning, etc., etc. And I'm going to be listening to you carefully, and I'll come back later on and give you my feedback. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Grammarian, for telling us more about your role.
Thank you. Madam Toastmaster, thank you very much indeed. Fellow Toastmasters, most welcome guests. So I've come back to give my observations very briefly about what I heard in both Russian and in English, and also comment on the various uses of the word of the day. So if I could start off with the word of the day. It was used in Russian particularly. Mikhail, for example, was good. And an observation I would make is there is a temptation for us to want to use a word like this in English. I think in most Toastmasters things, and we had things like amazing and fantastic. And I think one of the challenges we've got is to be more creative. And I think the stunning and we had some good ones like astonishingly from Constantine. I like that very much indeed. Gobsmacked, I thought was well used by James, wasn't it? Yeah. So that was one comment as well. Yeah, Colm used amazing. So maybe next time think of something that would be. I think you said James' use of English was amazing, which
I'm happy with that.
Yeah, but he could do so much better. As the future valuation champion, and the comment actually that was alliteration. All that stuff I don't need to comment on, particularly lambast limitations of legal. Four-way alliteration. Super. There you go. That's a bad one. It was a very clever one. Regina, I liked your alliteration. Something personal, something particular, and to really do well in Toastmasters, you need a third one as well. You know, to put something perfect. I don't know, something that might be good like that. Gohar, you used buzz around the table, and that's an onomatopoeic word, really, isn't it? Because it's the sound of the buzz. That's what bees do. Mikhail, I like those the three areas: tsunami, zaraditeli, nisnami, and also the ice is broken. I thought that was a nice phrase. Konstantin, drip, drip, drip. That was beautiful. And also the verb to snooze it. I thought it was a nice invention. I hadn't heard to snooze something, but that's a great way of using your English. Extinguish versus override. Rewiring your brain. So many brilliant things. But I'd like to end on a nice piece of legal jargon, which I'll remember long in the future. The CYA. Remember that one? It's not a secret police in America. Cover your arse. I thought it was lovely. Meditation.